Cool. Well, I got the recording up and going, and then we can just hop into it. I'll be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay.
Okay. Good abilities, good awareness on the Farah. Okay. Um. Hmm. Great nade. Okay. So one thing I'm noticing really quickly, I don't think this is like a end of the world thing. I don't think that this is something that's necessarily going to like rank you up an entire rank or drop you a whole rank if you're doing it wrong or anything like that. But something I'm noticing right off the bat that just might speed up your gameplay more so. So I'm noticing that you are doing you're mixing up your movement, right? You're doing some 80 strafing, you're crouching, right? These are all good things, but there's ways to do it wrong, and I think the way that you're doing it isn't as good as it could be. The
Okay.
main thing is that you're doing it all too quickly. You're going like this, you're crouch spamming, and then so notice if you keep your crosshair on their head, right? This is their angle to you. Um, you can hit headshots. If you crouch spam, well, you're just kind of staying in the same spot for the most part, right? Like you're mixing up a little
Oh
bit,
yeah.
but you end up just not moving. So it's the same thing as if you're like moving side to side too quickly, right? Rather than being off of them and mixing up your movement, your crosshair kind of just stays in the same spot. So usually it's better to find like a nice medium pace to go at that's not like just like spamming the buttons and having more medium pace as well. Like I think the other thing this would help with as well is maybe slowing down your gameplay a little bit because I've like a feeling that that tendency to like mash the buttons makes you think like just go like a million miles an hour where you're just like where you're like in the fight and you're going okay let's go we're checking in we're going to sleep right all right like and it kind of becomes like every
Yeah.
action is very sporadic and spur of the moment and like it just like leaves calculation out of it so that's just something I noticed like just from the get-go. Make sure not to go too long and slow because then that becomes easily predicted. So you want to find a nice medium pace, chuck in some crouches once in a while, and that'll help your movement be random with it. Um, and those different things will help with it. Um, like I said, not like the biggest thing, but it might affect your speed of gameplay if you're uh, kind of being frantic about everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Good nade, good sleep, almost. Uh-oh. Alright, so he got booped to the side or something like that. Or he just, yeah, I think the hazard booped him. And then we just don't get to sleep on him in time. Because I think we weren't expecting him to get maybe booped into us. So here we kind of get lost a little bit. We stopped paying attention to the Hanzo. I think your Hanzo was low for a little bit here because we heal him and then you see him get shot twice and you hear him get shot twice, or he gets shot once there and they get shot again by the Ana, and we don't. I mean, he's not requesting healing, but we're also not noticing that he's low here. So we kind of lose all awareness of the Hanzo for a little bit, and then he jumps and he's like half HP, and then he ends up dying when we probably could have healed him at any point there, and that probably could have helped keep him alive. So just a bit of a lack of awareness of him. And then we nano the hazard because we're trying to get him to touch. Probably a pretty decent nano. We try to throw a nade on the charging Reinhardt, and then they're like all the way over there. And we know, like, okay, well now we can't do anything about that. Okay. Here, sleep is we're nading when sleep is probably the much better idea against a charging Reinhardt, and then we just are too delayed on the sleep because we're using it after he's already gotten a full swing and fire strike into you. So definitely could have escaped there if we're just landing the sleep quicker. Also, just prioritize getting out. If you've lost the fight, you want to get out if you can, and if you can't, let them kill you. Because if you do this, now you end up staggering. Just as a refresher, because you're getting back into the game, this isn't good because not only did you die, which isn't good, now you're coming back and look at your team. They just push forwards without you and they died. So when you die late, your team has the option to either push in without you, in which case they're at a disadvantage and they could just lose the fight or die again, or they wait for you, in which case you've just wasted more time. And
Mhm.
if they choose to push in without you, well, then if they go in and let's say they go in like 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, well, now you're creating a stagger train where you stagger and then they stagger and then the next group pushes in and then they stagger and it just keeps going and going, and that's how you give up free fights and you just waste so much time trying to regroup that you basically just hand them a fight or two. Like, look at, they're already halfway through this point, and we haven't even contested them this point because your team hasn't grouped up yet. So while you were dead and respawning, so we died, and then the Bastion dies and gets staggered, and then the Widowmaker is gonna push. The Hazard and the Widowmaker are pushing back in, and the Widowmaker dies. Right, so now they're getting staggered. Oh, I don't think you noticed the Kiriko. Not that it necessarily would have 100% saved her, but might have been able to heal her out to get out of that visor. Or just trying to maybe chuck in a sleep or something like that.
Yeah, I think this is a problem I have. I kind of look for a bit too much damage sometimes. I'm not sure like when to heal, when to do damage. Because
Yeah.
I looked at like support videos and like I looked at Awkward. You probably know Awkward, and
Yep.
he like damage. So I'm like,
Yeah. So the general gist between when do you heal and when do you damage is you heal when healing is needed and you damage when healing is not needed. If healing is needed, it will almost always take priority and precedent over damage, right? Because if you think of it, if you break it down, which is more important to take pot shots at the soldier or to heal your Kiriko? Even if soldier was 1 HP and Kiriko was 1 HP, and they're both standing next to each other, it is more beneficial to heal your teammate than to try to get the kill, because if you try to get the kill and then your teammate dies, well then you just went 1-to-1 and then it's
okay,
no value. Right? You just
yeah.
attained 0 value. Good job. But if you heal your teammate and then they get the kill, or you work together to get the kill or something like that, well now you've just secured a kill and kept a teammate alive, which now equals +1 value. So it like sometimes it'll depend. Like maybe in some occasions, damaging will take the precedent if like your teammate only needs a little bit of healing, or if you know that you could kill the person faster than they could kill your teammate or something like that. Things like that like might change it up, but generally speaking, if people really need healing, the people who really need healing take priority. If they're down like 50 HP It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. That's like sometimes like if they're down to 50 HP, just like it depending on the situation, other things can be of more priority than 50 HP, right? Like maybe getting an ability landed or reloading or using an ultimate or things like that can take priority over 50 HP. But if you have somebody who's half HP or critical, definitely healing is a big priority. So then you pay attention and be aware of your teammates. And if they need you to heal, then you heal. And whenever they don't need you to heal, then you have free reign to go and try to do whatever you want to do, right? And try to shoot whoever you want to shoot and throw your abilities in and things like that.
Okay.
Here, so you had, like I said, you had two options. Um, Obviously, you're probably not going to kill a soldier if he's like at this range while he's visoring. Um, so either A, you could try to heal your Kiriko with like maybe like a shot and a nade, and that might give her time to get around the corner. Or B, maybe you could try to land a sleep on the soldier, which both of them are probably going to be like harder skill shots to land because of like their distances. So, but trying one or the other would be better than neither.
Yeah.
Okay. Still regrouping. Okay. Notice just like flicking habits of like notice how we're trying to land these shots and we shoot and then we look all the way to the right and then we shoot. Oh, I thought we did it twice there. Shoot, right flick, shoot, right flick. See if it comes up more. Sorry, one second. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
If it comes back on. But notice, just because of staggering, we didn't even get a single fight on that point. And that start, like you weren't the exclusive staggerer, but you started it, right? You were the first one to stagger. And sometimes just being the first one can be a big difference, or being a part of the chain. If you can be the one who doesn't do it, then it stops the cycle. Okay, miss both abilities. We'll go over long range nades in a minute. Good awareness of Bastion. Okay, so we're coming up here. He gets pins. Good nade. Good. Sleep may not have been needed, but still good abilities. Grenade. So kind of losing sight lines of a bunch of critical teammates there. Uh-oh, so now we're in a really precarious position. Because now we could end up getting pushed by their whole team. Uh-oh, I don't think that's the play. All right, so let's rewatch this for a second. So, your team is just playing really far back, which going and playing with them could be an option. It would limit your ability to do things, but it would give you an increase in survivability. So it's kind of a give or take. I think that either kind of works. It kind of depends on if you're expecting them to push your back or whatnot. But the fact is that now you're kind of out of position. We missed the nade because I think we're trying to hit it on him while he's moving. So we missed that. We then had Bastion look at us, and then they just decide not to look at you anymore, and then that gets you out for free. Because if Bastion looked at you for half a second, then you die. But
Yeah.
he just decides not to look at you, and then that gets you out for free. So just in the future, I probably would just try to stick on the flank for a minute and try not to just run through the open, because I probably could have very easily gotten you killed. And just because a mistake's not punished doesn't mean it's not a mistake. So something to watch out for. Okay,
But wouldn't
so
I just get killed if I stay there?
not necessarily. I mean, look at how they're pushing your whole team. They might not have even tried to push you, and then if they did try to
Oh
push
yeah,
you, you
true.
you had sleep available, and then your teammates could have pushed back into them as an idea.
Yeah.
Alright, nice nade. Okay, good job. Good abilities. Good ults. Grenade. Okay, so we push back out. So maybe like a little bit of awareness of like Reinhardt, so we're not getting jumps like that. Kind of walk into the fire strike, and then getting around the corner maybe could get you to not die there. There is not a need for you to be on point at the moment if you have teammates who can get on point. So if there's no teammates who can touch point, then go, of course, go jump on point. But as you see, you have multiple seconds here, and you have teammates like your tank who's about to jump on point. So you going and standing on point is putting you smack dab in the middle of the open, right? Very wide open, very easy to shoot at, no cover anywhere, and just exposing you to every angle for people to shoot at you. So definitely want to make sure you're using cover. And yeah, not jumping straight out here, because then that just puts you in big risk of dying, and then if they get picks on you, well then that could snowball in the wrong direction. But I think we were winning the fight, so okay. Okay, I have a tendency to notice that your nades are pretty strong, but your sleeps are a lot weaker. Sometimes we're throwing. I think we just are putting a lot less effort into your sleeps, and they can be very frantic. They were throwing them sometimes when somebody's like 1 HP or dead. You're throwing them often like immediately after you throw your nade, and it feels like they just aren't getting as much love as your nades are. So here, like we hit it on the Reinhardt, which honestly, like the nade or the sleep could finish him off here. If he was full HP, honestly, the sleep's even better, because that stops him in his track and opens up for your team to be able to melt him. But the fact that he's half HP makes your nade even better, because it keeps him stuck at half HP. If he was full HP, I might recommend letting him come further into your team and then sleeping him. But nade is perfectly fine. We get the nade, but then we're immediately going for the sleep, like right afterwards, and when he's like 1 HP and he had a shield up, so uh, he just ends up, like, we get him anyways, so sleep might not have even been needed. And also, yeah, so it basically might not have been needed, and it just always feels rushed. So when it comes to abilities, let's leave for a minute. when it comes to abilities, they don't always have to just come spur of the moment. I mean, obviously that there will be plenty of situations where that arises, but oh, I don't know why it's not loading. I don't think practice range likes me right now. Sorry, I don't know why practice range isn't loading.
Oh, good.
Okay, well, oh, there we go. So when it comes to nades and sleeps, you want to make sure this is kind of what I was talking about with the frantic gameplay is you don't always want them to be like, okay, shoot, shoot, pew, 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 bing, 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 and then we're nading, shoot, shoot, pew, oh, we're going for sleep, right? And like you don't want it to always be like frantic spur of the moment, right? It can certainly be like that. Like you will need to do that. Like if like a Genji jumps on you with a blade, right? You can't necessarily be like, oh la 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 la, right? About it. You have to be frantic about it because otherwise he's gonna get you. But also thinking about your abilities, right? Like if you're in the middle of a fight, you can just kind of put your aim on autopilot for a second and go, okay, I'm looking for my nade. Like even while it's on cooldown, you could be thinking about it, right? So let's say if it's like that your sleep's like, or your nade is like 5 seconds out, you can be going heal, heal, heal. Okay, I see them. They're grouping up. I need to rotate to get to the better position. Shoot, shoot. Okay, I'm lining it up and throwing. Right, where you just like kind of put a little bit more effort. Same with sleep, putting a little bit more effort and thought into it that can just help it get executed better. And really, that's the same way you work on anything, right? Like anything you're trying to get better at, you want to make sure you're putting active effort and focus into it, because if you're not putting active effort and focus, it's just not going to improve at all. But when you actively think about it all the time, where you're going sleep, 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 nade, 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 then your nades and sleeps are going to be better because you're thinking about them and putting effort into them. Really quick nade tech before I go back into the game. This is good for long or medium to long range nades, not for close range nades though. It only works if you're scoped. Scope, line up your ultimate charge with whoever you're trying to aim at, and your nade's going to hit them from any height or range that you're
Ah,
at. Same. So since they're on a slope here and we're on more even footing, it's like going to be the queue. I think the further away they are from you, the lower you go. So now, if you look at the queue, I'm gonna wait for them to go in the room.
No recovering.
All right, so that's gonna be a good tool for long range nade thinking.
okay.
But obviously, you don't need that if they're like right next to you. Right. All that makes sense. Any questions on any of that?
Mm, yeah, but the things with like sleeps, I'm kind of used to like nading and sleeping because I just feel like if I hit that on the tank, they just auto dead. I think. Is
Yeah.
that like, yeah,
So, of course, but then like I think that you just want to be careful about falling into the habit of habit of automatically doing it even when it's not needed, because there will be, because the
yeah,
game's just pretty diverse and there will be situations where you only need one of them. So if you only then like what happens, for example, like if you use nade and then you sleep into the Ryan shield because he's shielding, right? Well, now you've just wasted
yeah,
one ability. Or if Reinhardt uh, what if you kill Reinhardt, but then they have another like DPS ultimate that you don't have sleep for anymore, because you've wasted both abilities in one thing. So you're right.
yeah,
If you land both of them on a tank, that can certainly melt them. But you also want to be discerning about when you're using both at the exact same time.
yeah.
Not always bad. Not 100% not saying don't. I'm not saying don't use both your abilities at the same time. I'm saying just be careful and think about it when you're using both at the same time.
Okay.
You see how the nade tech would probably help a lot there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Take your time, line it up. It just, once again feels very rushed. We're kind of just chucking it in over his head. We're not even lining up a crosshair on him. Okay, Nate misses 2. Wait for them all to group up. Make sure you're landing it at their feet. Okay. Right, once again, like just notice how like you're healing, and then all of a sudden like there's a sleep again going, right? Like it just feels like it's very quick
Yeah.
to use each ability. Oh, that's okay. So let's look at what happens. So we turn to heal for a second, and has overslowed. So he's critical. Oh, okay. He jumped back in when he was critical, and you saw he was critical, and we like were turning to heal the Sombra. So just prioritize the person who's like in the combat, because Hazard is probably the more important person to be looking at, and we were just that second of delay, kind of oh, he lived at 2 HP. Just that second of delay kind of got him killed. Okay. Once again, you're always in the habit of nade first, sleep second. Nade first, sleep second. When that's not always the most optimal way to use your abilities. Generally speaking, it's a general rule of thumb that nade is the better offensive ability and sleep is the better defensive ability. And thus, think about this: where Reinhardt's charging straight at you, why are we nading when you're full HP? The nade's not gonna get Reinhardt killed. It's not healing you, so that nade just ends up being worthless. And so sleep is the much better option here because that
I see. Yeah.
completely gets Reinhardt off of you. And then now, because you didn't use nade, if you're trying to run away and you get shot at and you need healing, now you have a healing option, right? Because now you've saved your nade. So just once again, be careful, be intentional. Generally speaking, nade gets used before sleep, but not all the time, right? There will be situations where sleep gets used first. Like right there, for example, right? Like when we're trying to run away, if we had nade there, that could have gotten around that corner. All right, and then we staggered, right? So once again, watch the staggering, right? Dying because you're out in the open, you're backing up really late. It's honestly just better to die with your team than to try to back out and just be really late. Because now this is just a whole fight that like you couldn't really do very much because you're dead.
Yeah.
Okay. We're about to come to the end of our time. Did you have any questions about anything that you wanted to talk about? Anything we didn't talk about?
No.
No? All
It
right.
was pretty good. No.
Cool. Yeah. Apologies once again. Like this short sessions, not as much time to actually to cover things, so kind of limits the selection of topics.
No, it's fine. I actually forgot to think about a bit. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll just keep watching for a second, but while we're wrapping up here, I'm gonna get you your recording in a minute. Oh, so here, just notice how. Sorry, just going back to the gameplay. We're like just really far pushed forwards. Like just like look at your positioning and where the fights happen. Like where they're about to like jump back onto point here, and we're like in a really open position for them to just jump
Yeah.
straight on top of your head. Like if you're trying to be sneaky about it, don't do scoped shots because scoped shots give them a trail. Unscoped shots don't give
Oh,
them a trail.
that's good to know.
So that's gonna just reveal your position, and so they're all gonna know you're right there, and they like come and drop in on top of your head. When it'd be much better just to be like like in this room or over by your widow, or over
Yeah, I get that.
here,
Yeah.
or this high ground right here would be pretty solid. That's just a really exposed position, and like we could get like a nade play from here, but you could also get a nade play from like that back high ground too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll get you your recording in a minute, and your notes, and then I'm gonna go over to Fiverr. I'll mark your order as delivered, and then you can go mark it as
Sure.
complete and leave a review. If you ever have any
Yep,
other
yep, yep.
questions about anything, feel free to message me. I'd be happy to get back to you about those. And then if you like the session and you want more, feel free to come back for more. I'd be happy to help you out. Um, if you're interested at all, you can get the subscription order for like 20% off. And just know I'll probably be start to get a lot more busy coming up in uh, probably like March. So might just be good to get stuff in before then if you're interested in more. I think that's pretty much about it. Any
Okay.
any final questions? Anything else?
Is the subscription like monthly or is it?
Yeah, it's like a monthly thing, so it will repeat your order. You order whatever you want, and then it repeats it once a month. For 3 to 6
Okay.
months is how they have it set up. And then you get a discount for doing that.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yo,
Uh,
thank you so much. Actually, helped a lot. Yeah.
Yep, my pleasure. If you did go for that subscription, probably recommend just doing the 3 month because I will be very. I probably like will be not even doing coaching over the summer just because my schedule gets very busy. So
Okay.
just another thing to throw in there. But yeah,
And like in general, you probably recommend like the standard option, right? Like on
yeah.
Fiverr.
Yeah, if you want more, usually, like, I mean, obviously, more coaching is better for more help and more information and whatnot. So, I mean, if you're looking for really, it kind of all just depends on like what are you looking for, how much do you want, what's your budget. Um,
Yeah.
1 hour sessions are usually a little bit better than 30-minute sessions because you can actually like delve into it and not have to like rush or cut yourself short. We can actually talk about a bunch of different topics and not just like one or two. Um,
Mm.
but that's yeah, so like 1 hour ones are better good. I usually recommend about like a week or maybe two between sessions so you have time to work on things. So whatever that looks like with your budget, maybe we could do 1 hour once a month. Some people go as much as like if they're really looking to climb quick and and they like want to grind and get better, they'll go as much as like once a week for a couple months. And